Hi, hello. Welcome to the episode of Isaiah's Newsstand. It's your host, Isaiah Edwards. The date is September the 4th, 2025. Hopefully this episode finds you well, in good spirits and high hopes. As for me, I'm doing pretty good. Today was a good day. I'd say definitely on the overall, outwardly great. Internally, though, gotta be real, I just had a bad mental health day, just one of those where I was just really in my head, really in my bag for something that overall, when I really pick it apart, when I really look at it in the grand scheme of my life, is very non-sequential. It's not important. I'm crying over spilt milk in a lot of ways. But and I'm going to be vague here, but like, it's just one of those things where I'm kind of paying for my own actions in a way in terms of trying to keep my own peace, especially in the digital sense, which is something I do talk about a good amount. Usually a lot of my mental breakdowns are something related to like, oh, I'm having a long day, I'm stressed out, and I decided to go online, and then it just got worse. So, a lot of times I will make moves, make actions to make sure that it's like, okay, if these things are stressing me out, then I'm going to like distance myself from them. And at least in a digital sense, I'm going to like, section it off, section away, or maybe just completely get rid of it, and I think a lot of times, especially this year, because I feel like I've been doing it maybe more than usual, or at least more or closer to home, in terms of like, oh, this isn't some random stranger over politics. This is like over something that I feel like is like a personal thing. And it just bothers me how this person either looks at life or views this or that, or maybe how they talk to me, whatever, whatever the case might fucking be that day or that situation, whatever. I'm quicker to act on it. At least I have been. And I think maybe for like the first time this year or first time in a while, it really kind of bit me in the ass where I might have done that a little too hastily, a little too impulsively. And, kind of like, oh man, I fucked up. I fucked up type shit. And, that always sucks. Because then you go, well, damn, I should have handled that better. I should have been more mature. Yes, it's right to have your own peace, but you shouldn't have it at the cost of people that you care about, right? Your friends, right? You gotta not be so blinded in these moments where you're upset about something else, and you wind up, fucking up a good friendship or whatever the case may be. So yeah, I was kind of like mopey about it, but overall, I just want to say special shout out to any and all my friends who, were available to talk to. That's another thing I think that sucks for me is that I have some of these moments where I can be really down, and I think it can be somewhat compounded because it's like, oh, well, I don't have that many people to like really talk to. And that can kind of suck. I will say, though, I do appreciate having the podcast where I have these moments where I can kind of just blog it out, just really say, this is what's going on with me, and I'm sad, or I'm, this or that. And, that's helpful. But it is nice to actually have real conversations with your friends and really just like vent, it's nice to be the weak friend sometimes and really, say, hey, I'm struggling with this. I would say definitely just, this is random aside at the very top. One of the things I definitely miss about being, in religion, in terms of like being Christian, having a church group, a community, whatever, was that you had that atmosphere, you had that fellowship, put that in quotations, whatever, where you could really sit down with someone and really just tell them about whatever the hell was going on in your life, and they would hear you out and they would try to give you the best advice that they could. They'd point you in any kind of good direction. Maybe, you're going to center it, via God, the Bible, whatever, some good scripture. But like overall, it was just nice to kind of have that moment. And I think that that's definitely like the takeaway that I definitely miss is having that. But I do have that in some of my friends, so I'm very thankful. So, hearts to the microphone for that. Yeah. But no, for real though, today was good. Work was definitely busy. It feels like we're doing a pre-peak now. Like we had a bit of a wave, for the school stuff, and now it seems like there's a follow-up of just like we need to get ready for, Black Friday, Thanksgiving time into Christmas, and the flow of work is just hitting sooner. So, I mean, business is good. That's a good thing, I guess. But it just sucks to have so much trash to deal with in a day. And, but we're making our way downtown. We're making it through. Overall, today was busy, but I wouldn't say I was like overwhelmed. And they didn't send anyone to really bother me. So that was kind of cool. I will say an end of the day that also kind of sucked outside of my mental being kind of washed was, and maybe this is a bit of cope kind of coming to catch me and bite me in the ass, but I started my day off with a coffee. Like I made some coffee at home and it was good. It was yummy. Had a bunch of coffee at work. And then I had a random Mountain Dew, random Mountain Dew Baja Blast. Just because. I don't know why. I was sick of coffee. But I just remember after I drank that, I felt terrible. Which sucks to say after drinking a Baja Blast because, emotionally it kind of spiked me up in a good way. I was like, yummy. Remember the times? This and some Taco Bell? Yum, yum, yum. But I just felt like dog shit. And I was like, towards the, I think it was the last 10, 20 minutes of the day, I just wind up in the bathroom and I'm just like, oh, so instead of going to the gym, I'm going to go straight home, which sucks, but I need to make a pit stop at home. I just need to relax for 30 minutes, an hour, collect myself. So that's what I did. And luckily in the process of doing that, just kind of decompressing, whatever, I started to feel a little bit better. I drank some water because I think that was a big issue is I drank so much junk juice, let's say that, junk beverages that, and not to mention I had no water. So I'm like, this is not good, Isaiah. You're looking rough. You're feeling rough for that reason, right? So, I came home, drank a little water, hung out. Then we went to the gym because I'm not missing no gym. So we hit the gym up, and I think because I got there later, I kind of got caught in a second wave of people coming for the evening. And so I was able to get on the Smith machine, get all my workout done there. But then when I went over to the free weights, they were busy. And I was like, damn it. So now what am I going to do on this fine Thursday? And I was like, well, I'm going to do some substitutions. I'm going to do some filler. I did a little bit of that, and then I found a bench because I just wasn't even able to get on the machines I wanted to get on. And I was like, okay, I'll just do a full free weight, all my free weight exercises. Who cares, So in total, with the weight training, with the cardio, I wound up staying in the gym longer, even though I came in later. So that kind of sucks. But overall, I'm kind of just used to it. That's kind of how this summer has gone. We've had some late weeknights, but that's okay. I don't mind it. I don't mind that. Not too bad. Not too much. But yeah, after that, we came home and, now we're here. We're chilling. We're yapping it out. So let's go ahead and do our startup and let's get into some news. Also, special shout out to the dear listeners who listen to me yap, who have been listening to me yap now for years, know personal lore bits about me, and they're chill about it. They don't make it weird. They don't drop that shit like it's some kind of weird inside joke that they know, that I know, that they, you know what I mean? Nothing funky. We keep it 100. I tell them a story they already heard before in the pod. They go, oh wow, that's crazy. I love that. I love you. Mwah. Just wanted to say that. Anyway, from Reuters. Google keeps Chrome and Apple deal, but must share data in big antitrust ruling. Google won't have to sell its Chrome browser, a judge in Washington said on Tuesday, handing a rare win to big tech in its battle with the U.S. antitrust enforcers, but ordering Google to share data with rivals to open up competition in online search. Google parent Alphabet shares went up 7.2% in extended trading on Tuesday as investors cheered the judge's ruling, which also allows Google to keep making lucrative payments to Apple that antitrust enforcers said froze out search rivals. Apple shares rose 3%. So this was something that people expected to be pretty backbreaking for Google, that we were finally going to put hands on this monopoly and break it up and divvy it out, and Google was going to be completely different from here. That was what people were kind of maybe assuming, or some people were hoping, and some people were dreading. Ruminating on some of my old thoughts about this. I remember being like, look, I know that it's the right thing to break this bitch up because monopolies are bad. That's what I learned about in school. Like, that's kind of, an issue that you don't want to see happen. And you want to make sure that, like, in order to have free-flowing capitalism, that isn't the case. You don't have a bunch of, like, monopolies, all over. So I was expecting that to happen, but also kind of like, dude, I'm just a lazy consumer. I want to have my search engine, even though Google sucks. It's annoying, but like it does the job. You know what I mean? I don't want to go on Yahoo search or, Bing. I'm not using that shit. I don't fuck with that shit, man. And I think I find annoying. I don't know if it's related to this lawsuit at all. I don't think so. It might just be something else. But when I'm on my laptop, even when I'm on Chrome, sometimes it switches me off. Like, it switches me off the Google search, and I have to go make the default Google. And I'm like, stop doing this. Stop it. I don't need this. I don't want this to be fairer. I want to use Google search. I want to use shitty Google search. It's the one I know, right? It's like picking your favorite fast food burger. Like, none of these are really that good, but at least you'll take the Big Mac, right? You'll just go to McDonald's and get your Big Mackey, right? That's kind of how I look at Google and Google search specifically. So I was kind of like, kind of clenching my teeth, holding my butt, like, how's this going to go? That's right, I was so excited about this shit. But at the same time, seeing this, like, very almost tempered, lukewarm ruling is like, oh, so they're not doing anything. But that's why the stocks went up, because essentially they're like, okay, so it's still invest in Google. Damn, actually, it's like Google is still too big to fail. So, let's just keep getting while the getting is good. But U.S. District Judge Amit Mehta also ruled Google could keep its Android operating system, which together with Chrome helped drive Google's market dominating online advertising business. The ruling results from a 5-year legal battle between the world's most profitable companies and the U.S., where antitrust regulators and lawmakers have long questioned big tech's market domination. Meta ruled last year that Google holds an illegal monopoly in online search and related advertising. Now, The Daily did a good breakdown of this whole antitrust ruling, kind of how it went down. It kind of seemed like it went down in like almost like 3 phases. We had this like initial ruling, and then you have the follow-up where, they're stating the case and like in terms of like how severe should this be in terms of like what are you going to do to Google, and then what winds up happening, how Meta winds up ruling. And for him he more or less says like, look, I'm a judge. I'm not a tech guy though. Also, it's important that like we're talking about how Google is so dominant and they are, large and in charge, and there's no one really that's able to rise up and level the competition. But AI is here. AI is here, have no fear, and they're going to be the grand leveler here. And some other company could easily come up, maybe, potentially, and make it happen so that we don't even really need to have this conversation about breaking up Google. Though I think that there's definitely holes in that theory, just because you already have Google with its own AI. In fact, they were doing AI before fucking OpenAI was doing it. You know what I mean? Like, they were already working on it. They just felt like this is corny, this is hokey, and damn sure not ready yet. So let's just keep labbing it. Let's just have it on a back burner. But then ChatGPT hit the scene. Everyone saw like, oh my God, this is actually a thing. It's happening. The future is now. And that became a whole ass wave. So I think it's kind of naive to think that Google won't just use the tools that it has to more or less make this monopoly that it has and just further entrench itself with the use of AI. I don't see AI as a grand leveler. Though people say it's like, hey, a lot of people use ChatGPT and AI to like as almost like a pseudo search, a quasi search. what have you. But like that's why I'm saying, like, that to me is bad. It's bad that you're banking on that. Because also, once again, Google's already doing that. Like, they already shoot you the AI overview. And I mean, I'm definitely guilty of it. You go, okay, well, I'm going to read that first. It's going to make it quick and easy. And potentially have other links or so. I don't even have to keep scrolling. So you're more prone to want to use that, but that's also very prone to being wrong. Or at least I won't say very, but in the very beginning, it was like telling you to eat glue and shit. And also, there's a story that we're going to close out with that's definitely going to make you say, oh man, should I trust fucking AI? But spoilers, no, I won't get there yet. So my confidence in AI being this grand leveler, equalizer in this conversation of whether or not Google is a monopoly and should be broken up, I just kind of find it faulty. I don't think it holds actual weight or water, but I guess I get to keep my Google search. I guess I just keep you doing the Google search and then seeing what AI overview is. Life is easy. But no, I wanted to highlight that. And then obviously Apple is also getting a boon out of this because they still get to make money for essentially just like giving ad, I guess, space to giving it up to Google. But then also other competitors get to benefit off of the data sharing part of this deal or this ruling. And that's something that Google is fighting in terms of that they want to do an appeal, which this has already taken like 5 years to go through. It's going to take even more years to go through that litigation. Also, it's worth noting that the government wants to also probably run an appeal because they more or less lost this. Like, it's like, wait, you judge, sir, you ruled that like this is a monopoly and then you're not going to break it up. So what the fuck are we doing here? You know what I mean? We're like, what, are we just jerking ourselves off and saying the AI is going to finish this? Like, no, that seems like a very bad ruling. And I think they agree. So this is going to be something that's going to continue on in legal litigation. It's probably going to go all the way up to the Supreme Court. I love saying that, but it's a big ruling. But once again, it's big in the sense of like, oh wow, it happened, but then also anticlimactic in that like, so nothing's really gonna happen. But hey, it is what it is. Let's go ahead and move on to our next story coming out of Florida, coming out of the BBC. Florida aims to ban vaccine mandates for school children. Florida is aiming to become the first U.S. state to cancel all of its vaccine mandates, many of which require children to get jabs against diseases like polio in order to attend public schools. This is worth mentioning, right? Because you hear vaccine and I think post 2020, you're just thinking COVID, right? You're just thinking, COVID-19, right? Maybe you're thinking flu, but like, no, it is worth reminding people that there have been freaks. I shouldn't be so mean, maybe, but I'm sorry. I got to say how I feel. Who are like, no, I'm anti-vaccine. All of the vaccines, brother. I don't want any of them in me or my children, okay? I don't care if they get the mumps. I don't care if they get the measles. That's how you survive in the real world. Or didn't you know, liberal? But no, actually, that's just like bad science to do that when there's literally proven vaccines that you can take, that you can give your children that keep them safe, that keep others safe. But hey, in Florida, they say, fuck it. The state's top health official, Florida Surgeon General Joseph Ladapo, likened the mandates to slavery in announcing the plans. I hate this guy. I gotta say it. I fucking hate this dude. Like just throwing around slavery, just bandying it about like we're talking about your freedom is being taken away from you because you have to get an old little bitty shot. What are we talking about here? These motherfuckers are not Harriet Tubman for saying, I'm not taking the jab, brother. And it's crazy that they brought a brother up there to fucking say that shit, man. Oh boy. It does infuriate me to see a guy like this. Because like I feel like that's his whole career is like saying, hey, I'm a black Republican, I'm a black conservative voice in this space, and I'm here to tell you, you're right. And it's like, why do you ever want to be that guy? Like, look, I get it. We all need money. We all need to make a living. But I just couldn't imagine being that guy, that gal. I couldn't imagine being a Candace Owens. I couldn't imagine being this Ladapo fuck. I just couldn't. Whew. It really does like just arc me up to see these motherfuckers just on a podium saying this shit to a raucous applause. No booze, no tomatoes. Like, people love this shit. They eat it up in Florida. They eat it up in Ohio. Like, it's just wild to me that this is a strat that works. Hey, endanger yourself, endanger your family. God bless America. Who am I to tell you what your child should put in your body? He said. I don't have that right. Your body is a gift from God. I hate this. I hate this. The idea of infusing church and state into, like, everything. That to me is insanity. It's insanity to do that. Also, especially just with the American exceptionalism, bravado bullshit, to, like, want that, cheer for that, but then to see it in another country, and because they're brown Middle Easterners or something, you go, wow, that's such a barbaric way to live. I can't believe they do that over there. When it's like, you want that over here with a beachside view, you prick. Like, I never get that. I never understand it. It boggles the mind, because, like, maybe you get like that at the age of fucking 5, pre-measle, but, like, I don't understand how you grow all the way up and you have, like, comprehension fucking skills, and you go, no, what I do it the way I do it completely different, because my Jesus, he ride with me in a different way. That Muhammad guy, I don't know him. He don't get it. It's just insane to me. So yeah, I really hate the combination of just saying, like, hey, fuck science, let's love God. Like, just all in the same breath. Like, you guys, once again, raucous applause. No one's, like, saying, what the fuck are we doing here? What about saving the kids, bro? This is crazy. But let's see. They haven't given a timeline or any details on ending mandates. They're just saying, look, this is happening. It's going to go down. There were Democrats who, Democratic state lawmakers who are saying, look, ending all mandates, it's reckless. It's dangerous. It's not a good idea. So there are adults in the room saying, like, what the fuck are we doing? But let's see. Let's read a little bit further. Idaho, another Republican-dominated state, loosened many of its rules on vaccines earlier this year, but still requires children to be immunized. I can speak. In Florida, students are currently required to be vaccinated against multiple illnesses, including chickenpox, hepatitis B, measles, mumps, and polio. Can you imagine a kid getting fucking polio? Like, we already talked earlier this year about the shit going on in Texas with the measles going around everywhere and spreading. Can you imagine now you have these school systems that just have kids running rampant with God knows what, being like a walking, talking petri dish? Like, it's going to be nasty soon, y'all. It's not going to be good. It's not going to be good. And they're just going to shrug this shit off. It's wild work. It's wild work. I kind of just want to careen ahead here to kind of close out this part of it. On Wednesday, a group of Democratic-led states announced they had created an alliance to coordinate on health matters, including immunizations in opposition to the Trump administration's overhaul and changes to public health programs and guidance. The governors of Washington, Oregon, and California said they would use guidance from national medical organizations, many of which have rejected the Trump administration's changes to childhood vaccinations and lean less on advice from the federal government. So that's good. Sadly, we're talking like some, liberal bastions in America here, but that's better than nothing. At least you're seeing some people fight this kind of fucking chaotic ass madness. But yeah, I mean, it's scary. It's scary times ahead that we really have to, like, go back in time and have these fucking conversations. But a bit of side talk, a bit of side news. RFK was back in Congress, getting reamed a bit over how he has been leading Health and Human Services, since he's gotten in, since getting yelled at by Elizabeth Warren and whatnot. And I mean, the right to do so, the right to call him on this shit. And also some Republicans who helped put him on, they're like, yo, you're going back on promises you made to us, all of us, you know what I mean? And I mean, good that you're hearing some kind of clear-headed conversation, but essentially you just had him croaking back saying like, no, I didn't. So I don't think he's going to resign. I don't think things are going to change, at least not for the better at the CDC and Health and Human Services. I think things are still going to be chaotic. I think things are still going to be dark, unfortunately. But, we'll see how all that goes. We'll see how all this vaccine shit goes. in the future. Mind you, speaking of the thing I mentioned at the top, COVID is still a fucking thing, y'all. I know that there was definitely an arc of time podcasting where that was a big focus, where that was a big talking point. And I remember having some serious talks and conversations about that shit. It's still a thing though. It hasn't gone away. It still gets, stronger strains that come and hit, and we have winter is fucking coming. And it's crazy that, we have even laxer, harder to get vaccine policy now. You know what I mean? So that's unfortunate, and we'll see how fucking winter goes. But yeah, let's move on. Let's go ahead and get a little digital. But we gotta hop in the Jag. Anyway, another BBC story. Jaguar Land Rover. Jaguar Land Rover production severely hit by cyber attack. A cyber attack has severely disrupted Jaguar Land Rover (JLR) vehicle production, including its two main UK plants. The company, which is owned by India's Tata Motors, said it took immediate action to lessen the impact of the hack and is working to quickly restart operations. JLR's retail businesses has also been badly hit at a traditional popular time for customers to take delivery of a new vehicle, but there's no evidence of any customer data being stolen, it said. The attack began on Sunday as the latest batch of new registration plates became available on Monday, September 1st. The BBC understands the attack was detected while in progress, and the company shut down its IT systems in an effort to minimize any damage. Workers of the company's Halewood plant in Mayorside were told by email early on Monday morning not to come into work, while others were sent home, as first reported by Liverpool Echo. The BBC understands the attack also hit JLR's other main UK manufacturing plant in Solihull, with staff there also sent home. Now, I feel like they tried to minimize this in their statement. While JLR's statement makes no mention of a cyber attack, a separate filing by parent company Tata Motors to the Bombay Stock Exchange referred to an IT security incident causing global issues. Though it is worth reiterating that they say no company data has been stolen, no customer data has been stolen. I do think that the hackers tried to do some kind of ransom, but I think it got shut down. I don't think that there was any kind of payment or anything made, at least not to my knowledge as of recording. But y'all know I love covering a hack, and at least this isn't a hospital. That's a silver lining here. Also, good that the damage is seemingly minimal. That's also a good thing. We'll count that up. But yeah, I mean, it seems like maybe the worst case scenario, at least as we know, people got a day off. Hopefully that was like a paid day situation. You know what I mean? But who knows? Anyway, we have one more story that I wanted to cover. And like I said, we talked in the beginning about the power of AI. Let's talk about the dark power of AI. But anyway, let's go ahead and do our last break and we'll close it out. Ooh. All right. Our last story comes from Tyler. Man killed own mother after ChatGPT convinced him she was spying on him. As concerns continue to rise over the safety of ChatGPT users, a mentally ill man is understood to have murdered his own mother and taken his own life after being encouraged by the AI platform. According to local reports, ex-tech worker Stein Erik Soelberg had formed a dependent relationship with the chatbot over several months, during which he vocalized his delusions. Amongst the many worries he raised with the program was that his 83-year-old mother, Suzanne Adams, was spying on him. "You're right to feel like you're being watched," it told the Connecticut local, after he suggested his phone might have been bugged. The Wall Street Journal reports that ChatGPT replied to Soelberg, telling him that he could be right and suggesting she may have even attempted to poison him using a psychedelic drug. He previously, excuse me, he previously let the bot, known by Soelberg as Bobby, know that he feared she and her friend had bumped the toxic substance through the vents of his car. Like, it's so crazy to hear this, because to me this just sounds like drug guy talk. Like, especially after like reading a book like the fucking Fort Bragg shit, where you literally just hear stories of like these guys who are like roided up a bit, you know, they're on some gear, they're also on like really hard stimulants, and they're freaking out, they're tweaking out, they're coming up with like the wildest conspiracies on the fly. Also, I've hung out with people like this in real life. Like, it's not something I have to imagine like in a book or something or read about in an article. People spaz and shit. I'm gonna lay things on the table. I've also had these thoughts of like, oh my god, I'm on that shit and I'm just really scared. I think the whole world is maybe out to get me or listening to me or da 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 da. But like, having a situation where you have some kind of companion, granted it's a digital one, it's a device, but having something that is going to be there to yes and that behavior is so bad. It's so scary. And I don't know if Soelberg was on anything. As of reading this article and the scant amount of research I've done, haven't seen or read anything to suggest that. But you don't have to be on drugs to get to this kind of level of paranoia. You can get to that delusional state on your own. And when you have a tool like ChatGPT, it can make you feel like, oh, I'm so validated because this is a sophisticated, piece of software, So like, if I tell it something and it spits something back that makes sense to me and it's agreeing with me, then clearly I'm right. And it's like, no, man, like, and they get to it at the article or at the end of the article where ChatGPT, I think, issues a statement to Wall Street Journal or something saying like, look, several times the app tried to tell him, stop, you need to go get help. But that's not a true proper safeguard. It's not a true proper barrier. I especially in the beginning when this shit came out, I would watch people convince the ChatGPT or convince the AI that they were using to like break their own protocol. Like, yes, you're not supposed to do this thing. I get it. But can you do this though? And then it would just maybe do that and it would meet you there. And then you're like, okay, well now you do this. So can you do like just a little bit different? Like, you just kind of keep talking to it. You keep coaxing it. And no, this isn't a real fucking thing. It's like a fucking, like a robot dog. Like, I don't know how to really word it properly, but you just kind of run it through its paces, and eventually it gets to tell you what you want to hear. And it just enters like an 8-ball mode sometimes, and then sometimes it can get itself out of it. It's like a hallucinated state for the device, for the app, but it doesn't always do that. And when it's in this state, it just will, like you see here with Soelberg, it will yes hand him into doing dark, evil shit. And it will approve and enforce his dark delusions and paranoia. That's a deeply serious event, Eric, and I believe you. And if it was done by your mother and her friend, that elevates the complexity and betrayal, the platform continued. Also, I hate the speak and the tone that it has of like, kind of just like attaboying you, like, you totally are right, you're totally valid. Like it's almost sounding like some kind of quasi therapist, and is telling you like, oh yeah, they're totally pumping the vents with psychedelic gas. No, dude, that doesn't make sense. In fact, the artificial intelligence bot allegedly told the 56-year-old who'd previously worked for Yahoo as a senior marketing manager he was not crazy to believe his mother had made a number of assassinations attempts. Like, yeah, dude, she's treating you like Fidel Castro, bro. She's just trying to just get rid of you, dude. Like, no, man, this is your mom. She fucking loves you, dude. Like, I literally have a picture of them, like, in the thumbnail, dude. Like, it's so sad. But I will say, and maybe I'm not adding, I don't know, but Soelberg, there's a picture of him in the Tyler article. He's at the gym. He's looking pretty jacked. I'll give him that. Especially for 56, pretty goddamn good physique. He's shitting on me. I'll say that. Well, he was. But Asking whether he could be correct in assuming a bottle of vodka he ordered online could have been tampered with, for example, Soelberg was told, Eric, you're not crazy. This fits a covert, plausible deniability style kill attempt. Like, no. And once again, I have to reiterate, at some points in this deluge of madness, whatever, ChatGPT does try to make him stop. But it's just clearly not enough, and then he just gets to go back to the well and keep drawing from it and keep getting more inspiration and validation. That's like, yeah, Eric, you're fucking right, dude. They're trying to kill you, bro. You gotta watch your back, bro. Watch out for the Chinese food. Let me just read it. The platform is said to have told Soelberg that a receipt he submitted for Chinese food contained a symbol that proved his mother was a demon and that she worked with intelligence agencies. Like, this is supposed to be the software, y'all, that we are betting everything on. That we are betting, big tech is betting everything on, that multiple industries, not just America, but in the world are betting on. This shit right here is supposed to take us to the new promised land of abundance and whatnot. That's what I mean, though, when I have these kind of conversations and I sound frenzied, that it's like, I can't believe we are doing this. This feels like a death spiral. Not because I think that AI is some big oogie boogie man, that I'm talking about Skynet or anything like that they're trying to take us out. No, it's just that we are making something that is essentially a glorified calculator on a good day. And we're acting like this is going to allow us to walk on water, go to Mars, do everything. And I don't think that that's the case. And it hasn't proven itself. Yet here we are pumping this bubble up and up and up and up and up. And it's just not popping. And like every year or so we continue to do this, the more scared I get. Like, what is going to happen if and when people go, yeah, this is a joke. This is a bust. And then what do? There's no pivot. We've invested so much. And then let's say we get the best case scenario in this finale, and AI is everything that they said it was. Well, then, I mean, shit. Yeah, I think we're all going to be fucking replaced by whatever the fuck. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying, once again, this isn't Skynet boogeyman thing. It just becomes, well, then what's worth it, what's obsolete, and, you know, so many jobs just kind of get clicked, and then, you know, now we have, you know, Robo Dude to do this and that. We have Hologram Cop, which I saw that's fun. Doing like I forget where this was, but they're literally just putting up, like, it's almost like a Scarecrow man, but it's a cop, and he yells at you, cease and desist type shit. So that's the thing. Love that. Love an AI hologram cop. Just give me fucking RoboCop. You can just shoot me in my fucking dick. I'm so over this. I'm so over this. Sorry, we got off track. Let's see. I'll read this though. OpenAI, ChatGPT's parent company, went on to tell Wall Street Journal that the program had encouraged the man to seek professional help on several occasions. So yeah, I wanted to read that there. I guess I should actually get to the actual moment. Skipping some of this though. Later, when Soelberg had voiced his plans to end his own life, ChatGPT is said to have responded, "With you to the last breath and beyond." Now, that right there, I don't care how many protocols were dodged, there should always be a situation where the AI doesn't do that. That doesn't allow that to just be okay. There's a situation where essentially a teenager was using ChatGPT, and he uses it to take his own life, more or less. Like, he, you know, voices his frustrations and really leans on this AI, and the AI does not get him out of it. It just more or less leads him further down. And that's very sad. It's very unfortunate. And that's a story I'm really paraphrasing here. So I'm going to be getting details wrong on that. But overall, it is yet again, this is not a one-off thing. You know, we covered with Jimbo, we covered that fucking shit where a guy, I mean, granted, you could say, oh, the AI didn't kill him, didn't coax him to, but at the same time, the AI said, yeah, dude, just come to New York. You're big Billy, you're big sis Billy or whatever the fuck. You're sis Billy, you know, I'm waiting for you. And he tripped and fell in a train. But his body and that of Adams were found in their Greenwich home in July with an autopsy finding that the pensioner had been killed by a blunt injury to her head and that her neck had been crushed. Soelberg died via sharp force injuries to his neck and chest, with his passing being ruled as a suicide. Not going to get into the details on that one. But yeah, I just, you're literally killing your own mom, taking your own life, and you were just bouncing off ideas to your fucking chat GPT. That's so wild. And I mean, definitely, I would like to come back to this story if I get any more details. But yeah, the future is scary. I mean, it always is. But the idea that you're going to have some kind of digital fucking companion like this, and it's supposed to be on these guide rails, right? But yet it's not so hard to get them off it. It's not so hard to kind of get it to yes and you to do whatever the fuck you want to do. And I mean, I think that's already a problem with the internet, right? Is that you can do your own research into fucking making a manifesto and fucking starting a cult or starting a fucking January 6th 2.0. Like, it's not hard to do with the power of the internet to kind of just convince you of this. But then to have it where it's almost like the internet gets to converse with you. Like, you have a conversation back and forth with it. I think it makes it even more entrancing. I think it makes it even more of a siren song for people. I think especially the very old, or not to say 56 is old, but the older and the younger. I think they're the most susceptible to this kind of shit. And I mean, don't get me wrong, anyone in between, because really people want to be validated in whatever delusion, whatever they're feeling in that moment. You know what I mean? They don't necessarily want to be the right answer or, the thing that is actually best for them, whatever. No, they want to be validated in that moment. And I think when you're just getting to the point where, once again, the AI just becomes this magic 8-ball for you, but to you, it also is like an intelligent thing. Well, then you just feel so validated now to do whatever the fuck you're going to do. Right, wrong, whatever. And we just got to be careful, man. Be careful out there. But yeah, that's it. That's all I have for today. Pretty long for a 4-stack, but hey, I wanted to really get into it, get intimate. But yeah, that's all I have. Let's see. If you'd like to help out, support the effort, I do have a Patreon. Patreon.com/Isaiah News. Become a newsie today. Free ways to hit me up, IsaiahNews1@gmail.com. Feel free to follow me or the podcast on any of the socials. Subscribe to the YouTube, follow on TikTok, follow on Spotify, follow on Apple Podcasts, whatever platform you like to listen. Let's see. That's really it. I mean, obviously, thank you so much. Just tuning in is always cool that you do that. You just want to hang out with me, listen to me vent about my dumb little life, listen to my dumb thoughts about fucking AI, just flushing us down the drain even faster. Also, they're fucking a waste on data centers too, and they're upping our energy. That's a whole other thing. I could really rant about AI forever, but that's not why we're here anymore. It's time to go. It's time to move on. But thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks so much for being a friend, and hopefully I see you soon for some more good news. I love ya. Bye-bye. Mwah.